Hey everybody, welcome back to Welch's Math class. We are here once again. At this point we're going to talk a little bit about subtraction. We're still in Module 1, subtraction of whole numbers. Our instruction right here is to find the difference of 5,007 and 2,159. When we talk about finding the difference, the key word here is difference. Difference simply means the answer, the solution to a subtraction problem. So the key word difference here tells us that we're going to be subtracting these two numbers. So that's what we're going to do. Now to do subtraction, much like addition, we'll set up column form. The one thing that's different is subtraction must be done in the proper order. It can't be switched. Subtraction is not commutative. We cannot switch the order of the numbers we're subtracting. We must take them in the order that we're given. Okay? So when we find this difference, we're going to set up column form. The 5,007 goes on top minus the 2,159 underneath, lined up by place value in the correct order with the first number on the top and the second number given on the bottom. Now we're going to begin our subtraction. Now our subtraction here is particularly difficult because it's going to involve a lot of borrowing. Okay? So when we subtract, we're going to subtract column, column by column. All right, as we go. So our first thing is to try to subtract 7 minus 9. Well, of course, we can't take 9 from 7. It's too much. It's too big. And so we're going to have to do what we call borrow. So what we'll traditionally do is go over to the next place value and borrow from that. But there's a 0 there, so we can't borrow from a 0. And then we'll go to the next one. There's nothing to borrow from there. And we'll go all the way out here to this last place value, the thousands place. And let's borrow 1 off of that 5, and we will in turn make that 5 into a 4. Now when we borrow, we won't take what we borrowed and pull it directly over to the 7. It's going to have to go through these two zeros to get to the 7. So initially the one we borrowed will go right here and make that a 10. And then, of course, we'll borrow off of that 10 and it'll drop to a 9. And that'll become a 10 next to it. And then we'll borrow 1 off of that 10, and it'll become a 9. And finally, the one we borrow off that puts me right here to get me a 17. So now I'm in a really good position to do my subtraction. And this is the most difficult subtraction piece where we have to borrow across zeros. All right? And so essentially, what we have now is 17 minus 9. What is that anyway? I think it's 8. How about that? So let's go 8 right there. And then 9 minus 5 is 4. And then 9 minus 1 is 8. And 4 minus 2 is 2. And so the solution, or the difference of 5,007 and 2,159 is 2,848. Now I'm going to ask you, if you would, pause the video and you find the difference of these two to check yourself and make sure you're on track. Hey, welcome back. I wonder how you did on the one that you worked on. Let's take a quick look at it together and see what you did. So first we're going to put it in column form, 9016 minus 4,538. So we see right away that we're going to have to try to subtract 6 minus 8. Of course we can't do that. And so we'll have to borrow. We'll borrow off of this 1. Now when we borrow off the 1, it turns to a 0, and our 6 is now a 16. So we can do 16 minus 8. We can certainly do that, and that is 8. And now we'll do 0 minus 3. Can't do 0 minus 3, then we need to borrow again. So we go over to this next 0. We can't borrow there. Go over to the 9. We'll borrow 1 off the 9. Of course, you got an 8 right there. This becomes a 10. Okay, this 0 right here in the hundreds place becomes a 10. Now we're going to borrow 1 off that and drop it to a 9 to make this into a 10 here. Now we're ready to go back to our subtraction. We've done our borrowing, what some people call regrouping. And so we've got 10 minus 3 here is 7, 9 minus 5 is 4, and 8 minus 4 is 4. So the solution, or the difference of 9,016 and 4,538 is 4,478. Awesome job. Hope you got that right. Go back to your exercises now and do your own practice problems.